Lee McCarthy. Am I the only one who thinks the allegation that the Russians hacked and altered evidence in the Mueller investigation is just a preemptive excuse because the investigation is not going to show a crime by Trump? It's not just a preemptive excuse, Lee. As far as I can see, it is. This is what I try to be good at. How would you describe this? I'm gonna manufacture a case out of whole cloth, and when I'm asked what the evidence is for this case, I'm going to present the manufactured evidence as the evidence. In other words, somebody very, very pithily wrote this. I think it was in a tweet or something. I don't remember who it was. I wish it did. But they basically said they had like a kind of a parody conversation between the FBI and a judge who was needed to sign a warrant on Trump or on one of Trump's associates. And basically, from memory, just hacking at it, it went something like this: we need a subpoena to raid the offices of Trump's lawyer. And the judge says, "Well, what makes you think you need to raid his offices?" And then the FBI says, "Well, because there's evidence that he has been in collusion with the Russians." And the judge says, "Well, what evidence is there?" And then the FBI guy says, "Well, there's been reports throughout the media that this has been happening." And then the judge says, "Where did the media stories come from?" And the FBI says, "From us." And then the judge says, "Where do I sign?" That's it. And thank you for the Bedford incident reference in the comments. It's a well-deserved search if you can find the Bedford incident. It's a terrific movie. Oh, by the way, we were talking about World War I earlier. They Shall Not Go Old is apparently now in wider release. It's the film I mentioned about where Peter Jackson took the most advanced computer imagery technology in the world and turned World War I from a grainy, jumpy black and white experience into actual people talking. It's unbelievable. You should go see that. And I also stumbled on, if you really want to get to the heart of World War I, really get to it, I stumbled on a 2017 release of a play that was written right after World War I called The Voyage Home. And you can rent that on Apple or I'm sure on Netflix. I cannot recommend that highly enough. The Voyage Home is great because it's a World War I movie with essentially zero combat. I mean, there's a little combat in the middle, little bit, and then kind of a hellacious thing at the end. But the journey home is a particularly compelling piece of literature because it was the only time in the war that the British were on defense and knew that the attack was coming. Almost all of the attacking was done by the French and the British. They did the attacking. They knew that they're going to go over the top and so on. But they were going to give the attack. A couple times the Germans surprised them with an attack. But the journey home is about the Michael offensives in 1918, where the British knew that it's going to happen any day now. And it's about this regiment that rotates back up to the lines. And they hear it's getting closer and closer, and they've got to be in the trenches for 6 days. 6 days in, and then they rotate out again. And it's looking more and more likely, and then they capture some prisoners, and they find out it's going to be Thursday. So 3 days from now, 2 days from now, tomorrow, this morning, the entire German army is coming. And wow, it's a real. Oh, yeah, Scott Ott's bugging out, taking off early, I guess, because he's got some more. Thank you, buddy. Good to see you. He's an amazing guy, that's Scotty. We need to have a fund drive so that so we can employ that boy, get him doing the work he should be doing, which is what he's doing now. He's just magnificent at it. It's not just he's been great on camera for 10 years now. But the stuff he's doing backstage here at our company is astonishing. And for those of you who've been longtime members, if all of a sudden things start to work, and do the things they're supposed to do in the way they're supposed to, that'll be him. Because God knows it's not me. So anyway, the journey home, can't recommend it highly enough. So we'll do one more, okay? And then I got a couple things I need to do, and we'll be back next Thursday. Okay, I've got a question here from Ashley Rose, but I also know that Eric Blake has imminent danger of having the arteries in his neck explode if I don't pick one of his questions. So I will do Ashley's question, and then I will do Eric Blake's question, so that those of you who may be within the blast radius of Eric can just take a pill for this one. I think it'll be all right for the next week.